I'm disturbing the land, chipping small trees, changing the ecosystem. It's what we do after all, right? We disturb as a species. We just disturb entire ecosystems, change the landscape to suit our purposes, whatever we want. You know, human beings have been doing this for a very long time. Hominids have been doing this for a very long time, tens of thousands of years that we think that there's prescribed fires to burn the landscape, to rejuvenate, change an ecosystem for, the benefit of wildlife, to bring in beneficial species, deer for game hunting, what have you. Perhaps there was some kind of fundamental understanding of the value of nature, the value of succession, ecology, who knows? We exterminated those people, but largely. But, in the last couple hundred years, few thousand years, with agriculture, that we've really been able to change a landscape. When there was a market for products, here's a forest, and it is a forest. It's very dense. This area here, I've chipped out a bit, so I've opened up the canopy somewhat, but this was a few hundred years ago, 200 years ago, this would have been a woodland. There might have been some openings in a few areas, but it was a forest. Native peoples that may have come up to these areas to hunt, I don't know, but once Anglo people came, once my ancestors came, they changed the landscape. They changed it. They timbered. They burned. It wasn't a prescribed fire. This was terminal. They wanted to clear the land, pull the stumps, have a field suitable for commodity production, hay, grain, things of that nature. Allow their animals that, descended from animals from Europe, cattle, sheep, animals to come and probably just walked through these lands here and ripped up everything, rubbed against trees, pulled up anything that was tasty, especially all the invasive species that were brought from Europe and Asia. But it was timbered. This particular piece of ground right here, just a little bit to the south, was open meadow. But this right here, this I don't think was ever open meadow, or at least it wasn't farmed. Cattle would have been allowed to trample through here. And it was timbered, and it was cold. There are coal mines through here. And what's left is some larger scrubby trees that grew up when there was less competition. Some of these large crowned beech trees. Most of the larger trees have been cut out in the last, 25 or 30 years ago. Maybe 35. So what's left is just kind of spindly and sad. Many small trees. Many, many, many small stems. And given enough time, you just wait. Become a thick forest again. And then a woodland, as the stronger trees are able to survive and the smaller ones die out. But it'll take a very, very long time. So what we do here is we chip. We disturb. We cut some small trees out. We allow some sunlight to reach the ground, instead of this being the dense, dark forest that it is in the summertime. All we get is these little tiny ground cedars and the occasional ferns in a few spots, but there's really no shrubs, short of some of the mountain laurel over yonder. So we chip. We take some of those nutrients and we spread them around some other trees, beneficial trees. We take some of the trunks down there in that stream that aren't suitable for chipping. We lay them in the stream, that eroded stream, from when the land above this was several hundred acres of open field for 100 years or more. Mountain ground that's not suitable for farming. It's since been abandoned and grown up. It looks much like this. But there's heavily eroded streams. So we lay some wood down in there with a lot of small stumps. All these areas, all these small trees, beech, birch, cherry, red oak, red maple, witch hazel. That about covers it. Cut those out. Those will rot. Those will feed some of these other trees. It's a nice black birch there. We'll cut some more of this bigger stuff out in time. Char it. Take the tops and make them into brush piles for wildlife, birds. Opening the crown up there, opening the canopy up to allow the crowns to expand a little bit, allow some gaps for birds to come down in here, provide them some habitat. Hopefully they bring some seed down. Not too many invasives, I only hope. It's December 2024. Small amount of water running down. Here's the vernal stream. Doesn't usually make it much past this point here until it flows really heavy. The water table comes up. Water descends down through the ground there and then pops up down below. This is one of my favorite places. It's quiet. Till the hunters come.